would you like to say anything, or?
Thank you for the opportunity to serve. Thank you.
You're going to do a great job. I look forward to the opportunity to. This county has nothing but opportunity in front of it. Next is unfinished business, Health Department construction status. I was going to throw that over to Chairman Frank Watkins.
Thank you, sir. Last Thursday, Capital Outlay met, and we met with Scott St. John, who is our design firm and architectural firm. They had a trip the April the 18th to the Marshall County site that's newly built to get design and functionality ideas from that. Scott said by our next meeting, which is June 1st, we should have a possible rendering of a possible design for our health department.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And that is moving along nicely, and I'm going to get a full report tomorrow from Pam Browning with the state too on where everything is. Next, 10B, committee vacancy appointments, which we have none tonight. Next is 10C, grant approvals, none tonight. Moves on to new business, number 11. If you'll see that 11A, we were going to make some changes to the personnel manual. We've deferred those pending some changes. 11B is a couple of accounting approval issues. There are school board amendments. We're not voting on the school board budget tonight. I want to make that clear that the information is in your packet for information only, but we're voting on B, I, and B, double I, or school board budget amendments and their fund balance report. And so I need a motion, please, on 11B, subsection 1. Motion's for us, properly seconded. Do we have any discussion on the school board's budget amendment? Seeing none, we're prepared to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye, voting aye. Those opposed vote no. Carries unanimous. Thank you. 11B 2 is the fund balance report for the school board, and need a motion and a second. We have a motion properly and second. It's properly before us. Do we have any discussion on the school fund balance report? Seeing none, we're prepared to vote. All those in favor signify by voting aye. Those opposed vote no. Motion carries unanimous. Thank you. And we have 11E. We have our notaries. If you'll look at the packet, as we do every month, they're on your attachment 11E. We have a motion on the notaries, and it is properly seconded. Do we have any discussion on the notary list as it's before us? Seeing none, we're prepared to vote. All those in favor signify by voting aye. Those opposed vote no. Motion carries. Thank you. That moves us to reports from committees. And as we've started to try to do, we'll continue to try to do, I'll call upon you or someone in your committee, if maybe the chairman's not here, and if you want to talk about your last month's business, this is a great time to do that. You can refer people at home and here to the web and the packets in front of them, because all your minutes are here from your last month's meeting. And this is a good time to talk about any future business or projects you'd like to talk about on your committees. And we'll start with Budget and Finance. Chairman Seaver.
Thank you, Mayor. Last month we continue working on the next year's budget. We heard this month, a few weeks ago, from the various nonprofits and outside organizations, and that was quite a lengthy list of people to hear from. It's amazing some of the good work that's going on in the community from all those organizations. Then our last budget meeting, we scrubbed through most of those requests, needed approved or made changes as we thought was proper, and we'll be continuing this month. We've got 2 more meetings this month, one this Thursday and one next Thursday, continue working through the budget. And so if any of the commissioners have particular things they want to see or talk about in the budget, now would be the time to start talking to us pretty soon, because we've got to have that done by the end of June, so it's getting close.
Absolutely, and I'd encourage anybody that could this Thursday, if you have any questions on whether the nonprofits that came and presented before us or any of the other initiatives in the budget, go ahead and have your voice heard, please. Next is going to be Health, Welfare, and Recreation. Chairman Pro Tem Hollingsworth.
Yes, we'll be discussing, we'll be having a meeting May 16th at 6 p.m. And we'll be discussing the fire service contract between the city and the county, which expired over 3 years ago. We'll also be discussing a plan to honor longtime commissioner and Hickerson Station Fire Chief Paul Hogan in July. So come out and be with us if you can.
Thank you. Next is Law Enforcement Committee, Chairman DeFord.
We have meetings quarterly now. The next one will be June the 8th.
Thank you. Beer Board, we had no activity. Capital Outlay, Chairman Hunt is not here, so Chairman Pro Tem Hollingsworth, if you want to give a capital outlay, please.
So I'm going to defer that over to Secretary Watkins for.
Like the previous comments, that we've been working on the health department, so that's going to be the kind of primary focus, but our next meeting is June 1st.
Thank you. And also, we're working on hopefully maybe putting some picnic tables and some things out front in the island between the two ends of the plaza here, so folks will have a place to eat. And we've been looking at that. And we've also been in Capital Outlay discussing these two medians in front of the school board and in front of the mayor's office here about perhaps grading those out and putting a sidewalk in instead of just having the grass barrier there. And also, we're talking about maybe adding or improving some parking spaces at the Health Department in Tullahoma in order to make sure they've got enough places to park once TDOT comes and takes some of the parking lot in July. So there has been quite a bit going on. The Industrial Board, I don't see anybody here to give an update. Everything's going pretty smooth. Stephen had a great week in DC last week and came back with a lot of great business leads for Coffee County. Most everybody in here probably knows that the $23.5 million to purchase what has been known or called the Coffee County Mega Site has been in the state budget, and that's been done. So it's just a matter of time now before all the pieces start coming together there. Still looking at a closing date sometime in October, probably, with the landowners. Strategic Planning, Chairman Seaborn.
Thank you, Mayor. So I can't remember, but I don't think I talked about the commander's visit last time we did this. So a month and a half or so ago, Commander Gordon from ADC came and visited with us, and I want to report a couple things he said. First of all, we asked him about how the cooperation is between the first responders, the police and fire and all that, because we have a lot of mutual aid agreements between the ADC, and he just said that was going wonderfully. It's some of the best cooperation he'd ever seen, so I just wanted to compliment our sheriff's department and our first responders. He had no negative things to say at all. We asked him, some of the issues that ADC faces, and he brought three things to our attention in terms of what would help the base, which is housing shortage in Coffee County is a huge issue for ADC. There's a couple $1 billion worth of investment coming to Air Force Base in the next few years. We're probably going to have, a large increase in jobs out there. That's going to happen. So they're having issues with hiring people having to live in Murfreesboro and drive down. And with the interstate traffic, that's an issue for them. And trying to recruit people when there's no housing available is an issue for them. The second one, similar to that, was child care, that there's a desperate need for professional child care for some of their folks. And then the third one is always workforce development, having the proper technical skills in the area. The other thing I'll just mention is that the Air Force is making an attempt to be more visible and interact with the public more. That's a command from the top, and our commander that we have now, Colonel Gordon, if you've not met him, is a very outgoing person, and so I think he's taking that on with gusto. So if you get a chance to meet him, I encourage you to do that. The last meeting we had last week, we're starting to work towards writing our strategic plan. Rick Susi gave us an overview of all the county buildings and all the maintenance levels, and, what kind of shape all of our property is in the county. I gave a quick overview to the committee of the budget, and the next meeting we're going to start getting serious about starting to outline the strategic plan report. So that's where we're at.
Thank you very much. Planning Commission, I'm going to refer you to your minutes. Oh, sorry, were you?
Sorry. Yeah, so we've added a couple, at Sam's suggestion, we've added a couple of people. It was Rick Susi, our maintenance director, a couple of county employees, and Casey Ball, right? Bell? Which one? I'm sorry, I forgot the last name. What? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. So Casey, but anyway, from the registrar's office, and they're both very knowledgeable of the county. So if the county employees want to give some feedback, strategic plan, we can work through them.
Good deal, thank you. Planning Commission, I'll refer you to your attachment, please. Board of Zoning Appeals had no activity for the month. Purchasing Property Sales Committee, Chairman Hollingsworth.
Yes, our next meeting will be May 15th at 5 p.m. We have on the auction block the old health department on Park Street. That will be sold with no reserve on that property. We'll also be discussing the sale of the property on Oakdale Street behind the city garage. That'll be up for coming up probably in August probably. So.
Thank you. The Ambulance Authority, Chairman Stubblefield.
Okay, we're meeting next Thursday, the 18th, but we're changing that from the 18th to the 17th, on Wednesday, 5 o'clock.
Okay, so you'll meet May the 17th, Wednesday, 5 p.m.
May the 17th.
We'll get that noted. Exit 105 Joint Committee had no activity. Investment Committee had no activity. Solid Waste Board, Chairman Hunt is not here, so Commissioner Nettles.
Not a lot to add from last month. Due to sickness, the next meeting is scheduled for May 17th.
Okay, thank you. Legislative, Commissioner Morris.
We had a meeting this last month, and we will meet probably the first week of next month to meet well enough before the county commission to review anything that's sent to us.
Thank you. Rural Roads and Bridges had no activity. IT Committee had no activity. 911 Board, Chairman Stubblefield.
Nothing to report. We meet in June.
Thank you. The Audit Committee, we have no report there. EMA Homeland Security, Chairman Hollingsworth.
Yes, we have nothing to report from last month, but we will be meeting June 8th at 5 p.m. here at the CCAP building.
Thank you. The Wayside Wastewater Authority, their next meeting will be May the 15th, and any information should be in your packet there. The Library Board, they did have a meeting, and we have Courtney and Polly here from the libraries. If you ladies would like to say anything, or you can refer them to the attachments that are in the minutes. But we appreciate both of you being here. And we had a visit from the Secretary of State this past week, too, and I got to look at the library in Manchester and had a great time with him. But anything you ladies would like to add? Thank you very much for being here. Election Commission, I refer you to the attachment. And the County Board of Equalization, we've already taken action on them. We'll refer you back to our packet on that. That moves us to number 13, which is statements and announcements. First one is I'll announce that the next meeting, regularly scheduled meeting of this body, will be June 13th, 2023 at 6 p.m. And do we have any other statements or announcements?
The policy and
Chairman Hershman,
procedure
yes.
meeting will be on the 17th instead of the 15th at 5 o'clock.
It'll be May the 17th instead of May the 15th.
That'll be April.
June.
I apologize.
Yes, sir, June.
May. And
It will be May, okay.
be May the 22nd.
Okay. Any other statements or announcements? Commissioner Duncan? Yes,
Okay.
sir.
I just wanted to remind everybody, our local world hero has a birthday coming up, 104 years old, Tommy Gwynn in Tullahoma, 104 years old on June 2nd. I don't know if there's anything planned right off, but we'll do something. on that.
If you'll get with our office, we'll make sure you get a proclamation, and I'll help you serve it, and be glad to help with all that. That'd be nice. Yes, sir, Chairman Seaver.
Yeah, just for informational purposes, so the Arnold Community Council here that supports AEDC, first of all, I encourage you to get involved with that if you're not, but we'll be traveling to DC next week, a group of us, to have a congressional visit. Of note, we have a Pentagon visit every year, but this year we're meeting with the Chief of Staff of the Air Force, which is in charge of the entire Air Force, and he's got 30 minutes with us, and that says something about the importance of AEDC, that the Chief of Staff of the entire Air Force would meet with us, and he's likely to be the next Joint Chief of Staff.
Wow. Any other statements or announcements? Mr. Pettigo, we have any loose ends? All right. Seeing that we have no loose ends, I will entertain a non-debatable motion to adjourn. So moved. We're adjourned.